Welcome back to the channel. It's day 15 of NaNoWriMo, day 106 of the novel. It's been an insanely busy day for me. I had to go out and cut wood, and so I'm a little excessively exhausted at this stage. Pretty much same old other than that. Came home and built a fire, had dinner. Today was also my exercise day, so I had to do that. It was about 8:30 when I started writing, and I wrote until a little after 10. And I just decided I was going to go ahead and do this video and get it out of the way. So the ramble that I have for today is something that I noticed a while back. I really enjoy listening to people read their stories. But there's a disclaimer there, because to me it's not the same as listening to an audiobook. Or maybe I just haven't had a lot of luck with audiobooks, but those few that I've tried to sit down and listen to, I just didn't care for the person's voice who was reading it. And so I think there's something about, like, if an author reads their own work, particularly if they're okay at reading it and I mean they know the scene really well, then the tone and inflection, like with the words, it just all goes together perfectly. Having said that, I'm going to do a reading here shortly, and it's probably not going to go that way. I'm still not overly comfortable in front of the camera, nor reading, for that matter. So we'll see how that turns out. But I'm going to link to a series of videos that I watched. I don't know, it's been maybe a month ago that I stumbled across this. And in my opinion, they're just great. To my knowledge, the person hasn't used the channel in a really long time, so I don't know that there will be any more videos. But I mean, I love these. There's a lot of them, but I'll link to the first part of the story. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, you can go and check that out. So let's get into this reading. The line in front of them moved forward a few feet, and Mary glanced at the clerk as she started ringing up the next customer. A moment of recognition dawned on her, and she laughed sarcastically. "What is it?" asked Kevin. "I know that woman, the one at the register. She's one of them." She'd almost used the word us, but changed it in her head at the last second. The distinction between the two words left a bitter taste in her mouth and reawakened the ache in her chest. Mary found herself on the verge of tears once again, but bit the side of her jaw and forced the emotions down. She'd lock them away in some frozen, forgotten place inside her if she had to, whatever it would take to make it through the rest of the day without falling apart. Kevin kept his eyes fixed on the cashier. Unconsciously, he shifted his shoulders slightly forward and tightened his grip on the buggy. The line seemed to move incredibly slow, but eventually he was able to start unloading their cart. Mary knitted her hands together nervously as they approached the register. Seeing the familiar face had undone the little bit of good from Kevin's brief massage. Her head started pounding again, far worse than it had been before. The cashier scanned their items in typical mechanical fashion, keeping her eyes downcast as she swiped each item and then slid it down to the bagging station to her left. "I heard about what happened. If it's any consolation, I'm sorry," she said. "A lot of crazy stuff happened that was out of my control," said Mary. The woman nodded and continued ringing up their items. "Is it true, what they're saying about you falling in love with the target?" she asked. "Who's been saying that?" That's just what I heard. The other members from your team are gone. People are saying you might have killed them to try to get away. Don't believe everything you hear, said Mary. Well, I mean, it just seems so obvious. You're standing here with him right now. If you didn't leave to be with him, why all the rumors? What's really going on? Mary jabbed her fingers at the tattoo on her face. This happened earlier today. That's why they kicked me out like some stray dog. Even after all the years I've lived and breathed nothing but the work and the mission. The cashier looked up at Mary with a questioning glance, then over at Kevin. Her hands continued to move, accidentally ringing up one of the skirts twice. She tapped a few buttons on the register, then went back to her work. I heard about that too, but it didn't make much sense. Tattoos can be removed. If it was done against your will, you shouldn't be blamed for that. Mary sighed and glanced over at Kevin. It's a lot more complicated than I can explain. It doesn't really matter though, they've made their decision. I just have to live with it. What will you do now? You know how things will be when she gets here. Do you really want to live like that? Maybe I'll take up bowling, or be a crazy cat lady in some old house writing novels in my spare time. All this is a little sudden. I haven't exactly made long-term goals yet, said Mary. If I were you, I'd go to her and plead my case. There's not much else left, aside from just ending it. Mary slammed her hand down on the conveyor belt. You know as well as I do that every action they take is allowed only through her will. If she hadn't sanctioned it, they wouldn't have been able to disconnect me. She's abandoned me too. I'm not going to kill myself, even if it means living as one of them when the time comes. The cashier shook her head and frowned. You're right about one thing. They are guided by her hand. If they kicked you out, there must have been good reason. I'm surprised she decided to spare your life in the end. Mary clenched her fist at her side. She rocked back and forth on her heels as the banks of halogen lights above the store began to flicker. The register emitted a series of groaning beeps as a digital pad on its side displayed a string of foreign-looking symbols. My life wasn't spared. It was bought and paid for a long time ago. I've kept my end of the bargain. She's the one that's broken her word. So that's the reading. Here again, sorry for the slowness. I'm virtually blind, so I have to have it really large, and I was forgetting to scroll down. But that's just a piece of the piece of there in the very, very rough draft. That has not been edited at all. But yeah, I just wanted to read something. There again, the video that I was talking about earlier, I'll link to it in the description. So if you go and check it out and you like it, leave them a comment and leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of it. I've shared it with a couple people. I shared it with my brother the other day. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what other people think. I suspect this is probably running a bit long at this stage, so I'm just going to wrap it up. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. I hope your day of writing has gone well. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. There's no new news about the whole Twitter thing. It's still on the agenda, it's still running through my head. I just haven't got it figured out yet, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Other than the fact that I want to do it, you know, so you can look for that in the days ahead, hopefully. As I said, I am super, super tired. Really, really tired. I'm going to eat again soon and try to write some more. So, I hope you all have a good night, and I will talk to you later.